The stage is set. 4 teams, 1 dream, 2 spots available in Sunday's national championship. And one of those spots is about to be punched in this first of 2 semifinals. Northeastern and Ohio State set to clash here at Pagula Ice Arena in State College, PA. And we welcome you up and inside of the booth. Jason Rush Jr. alongside AJ Malesko. Madison Packer is with us as well, fired up for this first of 2 semifinals. AJ, Northeastern, the only team that pulled off an upset to get to this stage. How'd they do it?
Yeah, they took down Minnesota in Minnesota, a tall task. And for Northeastern, they were backstop 45 save performance from their superstar sophomore goaltender, Lisa Janssen. But offensively, as they have been all season, they've been led by their top line. And that top line is made up of a veteran presence in the middle in Lily Shannon. And then they've got a sophomore and a freshman on the side. You got rookie speed with Striker Zablocki, who you mentioned. And Striker Zablocki is a breakaway threat every time she's on the ice. She stretches the ice as you go. She pushes them back. And then you've got Eloise Caron, who's got the finishing touch. She does a good job finding the soft spots in the net front. These 3 are going to have to drive them here tonight.
Flip it over to Ohio State. We saw the emotion firsthand last year when they lost the national title to Wisconsin, 18.9 away from a title. Couldn't get it, but their goal is to get back here, and there they are. They're back.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster over the last couple of years. Obviously, they've had so much success. 6 straight Frozen Four appearances for the Buckeyes, and they've been to the title game 4 years in a row, trying to make it 5. Joy Dunn, their junior, scored the only goal her freshman year. Then she was a part of that loss that you just mentioned, that heartbreaking roller coaster. That's fueled them. The emotion of that game has fueled them all season long to get here and get back to the game on Sunday.
Well, this should be a fun one today. As you see Joy Dunn there, Lisa Janssen, the goaltender for Northeastern. She's been phenomenal in her career, 39, 15, and 1, at 1.61 goals against average this year. Then flip it over, Haley McLeod in Columbus. They like to say it's cloudy with a chance of good goaltending, and she has been fantastic this season between the pipes today for the Buckeyes in this Frozen Four semi-final. These 2 teams with a dream of a national title and trying to punch a ticket to Sunday's championship game as we are underway here at Pagula. A rematch of a 2023 Frozen Four semifinal won by the Buckeyes. This is the first time Northeastern has been on this stage since 2023. And as we noted, is 6th straight Frozen Four for Ohio State. Riley Jones in the corner, pressed up against the boards by Joy Dunn. Now it's scraped off the wall. This top line for the Buckeyes goes to work. A wrister from Carmichael, and save made by Janssen as Carmichael joins that top line for the Buckeyes today. Hilda Svensson drops down to the second line. The WCHA Rookie of the Year for the Buckeyes, who led them in points at 50. That top line change, an interesting one. Jocelyn Amos also still playing, of course, with Joy Dunn. Those 2 have been together for the last 3 years now. But an interesting change in that top unit, EJ. Yeah,
you know, and you look at it, they've had so much success, but dropping Svensson down to that second line certainly gives them more scoring depth. It makes it much harder to match. They are the lowest seed here, so they're going to have the last change.
Right on cue, Svensson now on the ice. Again, was out there before with that unit of Dunn and Amos, but now on the second line as Bella strolls into the zone. Leaves it off for Lalonde. She'll put it downstairs, past to Bella, out of the reach, and Sloan Matthews, playing in her 4th Frozen Four, will slip it out. Matthews and Peschel, the 2 Buckeyes, playing a 4th straight Frozen Four. Raunio and Unikare, the defensive pairing out for the Buckeyes right now. The Swedish pairing who played together for the Swedish Olympic team. Now it's played out. Brooke Disher will dump it back into the Northeastern zone. This Buckeye team defeated Yale 6-1 to get to this stage. Mentioned the Northeastern upset over Abby Murphy in Minnesota. Bogdan tracking after the puck, has a step. Bogdan moving in, a sharp angle shot, and a save made by McLeod. First time she's really been tested so far today. Northeastern not afraid on these first few shifts at all.
And Northeastern, that's a calling card for them. Start strong. 3 goals in the first period against Minnesota.
Could be an interesting deciding factor in this game. A slot opportunity for Brazes, stick to side. Rebound spilled out, it was available and pounced on by a sprawling McLeod in the crease as McDermott got in tight.
And Brazes getting frustrated to let go of her stick. It went a little palms up, but getting a little heated in the net front. I don't expect that to cool down at all.
Let's say hello to Madison for the first time.
How are we doing, guys? Well, we talked a little bit about Joy Dunn, and we spoke with her yesterday. And the thing that she said that resonated and has really stuck with me is not everyone can be a Buckeye. And what does that mean? This team takes a very different approach, in my opinion, than just about everyone else and how they prepare for the season. So you're starting to see, nice shot there. You're starting to see some of that line has a good start here, and they're here for business.
Yeah, that's a good face-off win right there. You look at striker Zablocki that lining up on her offside. She's quick win back to her, and a nice quick shot.
This line, Zablocki, Karan, and Shannon, they win another face-off. That's the top unit for Northeastern, and they've dealt with some health issues this year. Karan returned right in time for the postseason, which allowed this group to get back together. Karan now battling below the goal line. Shannon took it away. She's very strong in the puck. Gets it up to Constantinople. Really elite player on defense for Northeastern. And now it's swept over to the corner past Zablocki. The Buckeyes can get it out with their top unit on the ice as well right now. However, a turnover. Zablocki nearly took it, coughed it up. Karan gets it back up to the line and passed over the stick of Riley Jones and out. This is going to be fun, AJ, watching these two lines go head-to-head.
Yeah, there's a ton of speed, and there's a lot of confidence on both sides right now. That's the biggest thing. I think, obviously, Ohio State's been here a lot over the last couple years. They have a lot of experienced players, but Northeastern is not intimidated by the moment.
They've been winning faceoffs early against the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are the best faceoff team in the country. So that's a statement early on in these first few minutes, first few shifts for Northeastern. Lloyd will curl around. Tries to get over to the corner. Cimarroni out there for the Buckeyes, wreaking havoc. Long shot from the point. Held on to by Janssen.
Northeastern, we talk about them starting quick. Their coach, Dave Flynn, he's been at 17th season. He's been around a lot. He's been on this stage before. Talking to him yesterday, we had a chance to hear from him about that adversity. You mentioned the injuries that they've had. They also lost their home arena. They played their last game there December 6th. It has been demolished. They've been playing at different places all around Boston. They don't have a home arena. I think that, to me, is very difficult. There's a lot more time in the day when you're transporting to different arenas, different rinks, and he said nobody has complained, and they will not have a new arena until 2028.
On the other side, Nadine Muzerall. That was one of the most inspiring conversations we have ever had with a coach, as Madison touched on yesterday. Contract extension just announced, well-deserved. She said to us, if we're going to preach the kids' commitment and the details day in and day out, why would I ever leave? She loves this Ohio State program, and she's not shy when she will tell you, we are hungry to be back here and get the job done this season.
I like her a lot better as the broadcaster-coach relationship than playing against her, I'll tell you that. She was a pain in the neck.
She's got the gray jacket going today, a part of a very nice fit as per usual. Madison matching her down there.
I did have to make a wardrobe change. She said she was wearing the gray jacket and the Louboutins.
Threw us off with gray instead of green today, but matching the Louboutins, I love it.
I didn't even know how to pronounce that name of that shoe, so there you go. I'm learning something every day. Thanks, Madison. And Muzzy.
Care back behind the net, paired up with Aranio. Now dish it out, and Buckeyes begin their breakout. No score, a couple of chances for both sides early on. Strong start on the face-off dot for Northeastern. Eloise Karan and that top unit back out there. Lily Shannon trying to track this puck down, cross-ice feed. The speedy striker Zablocki moving into the pad, save made by Janssen. Another great chance for that top line for Northeastern. The speed of Zablocki is apparent. You have to keep your head on a swivel when she's out there with Karan and Shannon. And now here they come on the forecheck.
Well, her speed just pushes the D back, and it creates room for her, but also for her line. That's why they've been so effective.
Pass picked off. Constantinople, beautiful read. Their best player on defense made a great play there, and now this top line will stay out. Zablocki up to Jones, back to Zablocki. Spins it down to the corner, pass picked off. And now on the move of the Buckeyes against a tired line for Northeastern. Peschel moving in, cross-ice feed, broken up by a back-checking Lalonde and a back-checking Constantinople as well. There's Lalonde cruising through center, long shift for that top line for Northeastern. They'll hop off. That allows some open space through the neutral zone, and then we get an icing call.
Well, best chance of the game so far came off the stick that Zablocki on that top line, that speed, beautiful feed, a bad change for Ohio State, and Zablocki tries to go blocker side. Great job there by Haley McLeod, keep the score at 0.
And I wonder too, that's the second stretch pass we've seen Northeastern try to make. I wonder if that's something they've picked up on from Ohio State in film.
Zablocki with 19 goals in the season. The shot from Cimarroni, the talented freshman for Ohio State from Toronto, goes wide. Buckeyes not done yet. Wraparound opportunity, sticked aside by Janssen. In back of the goal, that was Kaya Malakino. Up to the line for Unicare. Slips it over to Disher. Disher fires it towards the net, got through. And now in back of the goal, Northeastern trying to clear, could not do so on the initial attempt. Abella along the wall, battling with a pinching Disher, and now it's out. Unicare backtracking, harassed by Jackson to the corner. In support with her is Baxter. The forecheck for Northeastern. Coach Flint said it would be important. It's been a good forecheck so far. Nearly forcing another turnover there. And now the Buckeyes trying to clear, and they do. Crisp pass out to center. Bogdan has it now off the feed from Brazis. Durbin will dip it in, a player who has shifted lines throughout the course of the year, along with another one of these Huskies. Due to their injuries, they battled throughout the course of the season, but healthy right on time for this Frozen Four, their first since 2023.
Ohio State early on using the width of the ice, a couple cross-ice passes.
Clean entry here for the Buckeyes. Looks wide. Now Svensson, the WCHA Rookie of the Year, 50 points in the season to lead the Buckeyes. Passed out in front, sticked aside to the corner. McDermott trying to clear, Peschel a nice keep. And Peschel in her fourth straight Frozen Four. One of two players in the Buckeyes who can say that, along with Sloan Matthews. Ohio State making a change while they're in the O-zone. There is Matthews in the corner. Shannon over there to try to take it away. Tristan Thompson with a long reach at 6'1", trying to rake it out of the corner, couldn't do so. Now Jocelyn Amos, one of the best skaters in the country, out there in the corner as well. Able to pry that puck off the wall, then a pass in behind the net. Another save by Janssen.
Great read by Janssen too. She didn't take the bait at all going around behind the net.
Really good shift here for the Buckeyes, just keeping the pressure on and keeping this puck in the zone. Now they'll have to tag up though. Northeastern with their top line back out there. You can immediately feel the speed of Zablocki, and she is seemingly always around the puck. Alessia Beckler, the Olympian for Switzerland, also on the ice right now for Northeastern. Joy Dunn was the youngest player on Team USA. She's out on the ice right now. One of 6 Olympians total in this game. We've got 8 Olympians for you in the second game. Just so much talent on the ice this weekend here in State College. Clean entry for Amos. Plays it over to Carmichael. That changed in their top line today with Carmichael sliding in to that line for Svensson, who slides down to the second line. Constantinople, so poised, banks it off the glass and out. Abella lead feed for Jackson with speed into the zone. Jackson will patiently pull up, centering pass, looking for Abella. It's broken up, Swiderski couldn't get there. Now she does, and she is out. Possible 2-on-1 for a second there for Buckeyes. Now Cimarroni will bounce down the wall. Pressure there by Allard. 11:09 to go, opening period. Battle in behind the net. Northeastern able to scrape it free. Couldn't quite get it out though. Kept in, nice play by Malakino, who's had some chances so far. Tried to elude Lalonde that time. Quick re-entry for the Buckeyes. Recently pull up, sent down the wall by Romeo. AJ, the Buckeyes just make it so tough for you to get it out of the zone. As right on cue, they come right back in here. It's Svensson on the backhand, puck spills out. Once again, Northeastern can't get it out. Svensson along the wall with her 50 points on the season. Swedish forward plays it back to the point, dumped in deep by Malakino. Now can Northeastern clear? Brazis will allow them to do that. Madison, how are things looking down there from your perspective?
Coach Muzzio didn't like that one there. She wanted icing on that play. The player was a couple steps behind the red line before she dumped the puck, but it's fast-paced. You spoke about striker's speed, and in some of these players, I mean, these players are big. I'm shocked at the pace of play right now.
The question is, will they be able to sustain it?
And the Buckeyes again, oh, rebound, spills out! for that top line, and Joy Dunn, 27th of the season.
Joy Dunn is so strong. She is the quintessential power forward, and here's a good look at the high-end angle. You can see the way, Jason, you were saying there, every time they lose the zone, they re-attack immediately. They don't take time, they don't go back, they don't play catch with their D, and then there's just, you can't control that rebound there. There's got to be a better awareness of clearing out the house.
And that's why you go to the net, right? I mean, any kid watching at home, that's every coach's dream, is you go and you stop on the puck in front of the net, just like Joy Dunn did there.
I love the way Ohio State, they weathered the storm early on. Obviously, we're still only halfway through the first period, a lot of hockey left to play. But as they re-attack, they don't take the puck. They like to possess the puck, but they don't mind going forward. Don't take the puck and retreat back to your own zone, just attack.
Here's Eloise Caron in for Northeastern. Couldn't get a shot off as Peschel was back. Zablocki out there as well. She'll bump it back to the point for Beckler, not at Thompson. Thompson, oh, nice pass. Found Caron, who got a shot on goal, sticked aside by McLeod. Baxter puts it in back of the goal. Eloise Caron still stalking back there. Lalonde tried to center. Had intentions that time for Zablocki, who has 19 goals this season. Good shift again for this Northeastern top unit. Now they'll back off. Zablocki skates off the ice. AJ, I harken back to that semifinal we called last year, Ohio State versus Cornell. It was just that consistent theme of Ohio State re-entering the zone as quickly as you just talked about. It just wears you down.
Well, and they've got the skill to possess it and come back, but I like so many teams in college retreat, retreat, retreat. I love the way that they go north. There's Joy Dunn, the goal scorer, and no surprise, of course, in her freshman year, she had the only goal in a 1-0 win in the championship game against Wisconsin. Joy Dunn coming off a huge gold medal win, and she drives the net, left shot in there, and she's tough to push out of there. 1-0 Ohio here in the first period.
That is the trophy on the line this weekend. Joy Dunn told us yesterday we are hungry to get back to the championship game. She just put the first goal on the board in this Frozen Four semifinal, and Ohio State is 22-0, unblemished this season when scoring first. So a promising start for Ohio State here at Pagula. Cabela comes in to take that draw. Lalonde heads out. Ohio State, best faceoff team in the country, trying to get out of their own end here. Svensson, who will skate it out over the line cleanly, fires. Pay it save made there, and pouncing on it is her countrywoman, Janssen. 8:14 to go in the opening period. Ohio State again 22-0 when scoring first this year, and they're up 1-0.
NCAA, obviously a huge feeder for these international programs.
Centering pass, score!
Joy Dunn in front.
Caroline Harvey, hit with a shot, score! Edwards with a shot, score! Cuts to the net, score! The United States wins gold in Milan!
AJ, you were there firsthand in Milan. You see all the talented names from different countries that we have in the Frozen Four in this game, let alone this weekend in general. How cool is it to see in this unique season all the talent we have today?
It's amazing to me, and you look at, you see the names, you see they just did it here in the arena too, celebrating the Olympians from Milan. It's wonderful for women's hockey, puts them on the world stage for people to see this incredible, great game. You know, fans of the game understand it. They know the NCAA is loaded with talent. But when people can see that there are Olympians out here, current Olympic players, I think it puts in perspective, and here we got our first penalty.
And some extra stuff after the penalty as well.
That's a tough one too, because striker Zabotnik would have had I think a breakaway, and I think the ref might have missed the tripping call right before that penalty on Northeastern.
I mean, that's a pretty good hit right there from Caron, and if we were playing checking, obviously in women's hockey, there is that fine line where they allow more and more body contact, especially with the new PWHL rules, that they're starting to incorporate more of that, which I love as a former player that was physical that way. But now this is a big moment here. Ohio State has a very strong power play, and for Northeastern, they don't take a lot of penalties, so they got to be very disciplined on their penalty kill.
Good face-off win to begin it for Northeastern, but they can't get it out. And now Svensson will go to work here at the point. Where Araunio, and now Amos, always dangerous, puts it down low. Another shot from Dunn. Goes off the bar to the far half wall, so up to the point. Araunio will spin it down over to Amos. Now Svensson trying to go cross seam there. Oh, it just went off the post. Very gently, somehow stayed out as Joy Dunn nearly had her second.
Well, there were two chances that Northeastern could have gotten this puck down the length of the ice. Right off the draw, Striker Zablocki, we took a bad route to get there. And now what a pretty play across. You go tic-tac-toe. Almost every player for Ohio State touches the puck. And Janssen got a piece of it, which is why it went softly along the post. And then all hell breaks loose in the crease, but stays out. Score stays 1-0. But Zablocki, again, had two chances to get the puck the length of the ice. That is critical right now for Northeastern. And for Ohio State, great job by them to smother the puck, keep the puck in the zone, and keep the pressure on.
All right, won the faceoff initially, but couldn't get it out. Now the Buckeyes win this one. Svensson over to Araunio. The two Swedish Olympic players go down low. Dunn hanging out at the bottom of that right circle. Right off the wall by Constantinople, got past. Araunio over there. Now Bogdan trying to track it down to kill some time off this penalty. 1:15 left on it. First power play of the afternoon. The Buckeyes going to work on a power play that's been very successful this season, 4th in the nation, as Amos cruises in. Amos with 21 goals herself this season, 46 points on the year. Now Svensson bumps it over to Unicare, and back to Svensson once again, down low. Trying to jam away was Matthews, played back out. Buckeyes make a quick change. Amos hops off the ice. Svensson goes back down low, back up to Matthews. Now Unicare's wrister goes high and wide. In back of the goal, Dunn still out there. Malakino, who fires, blocked out in front. 32 seconds left on the Buckeye power play.
Well, Janssen's obviously scouted this power play. She knows that cross crease past that back door, and twice she's disrupted that play coming through her crease.
Back comes Unicare, who Janssen has played with in Sweden, along with a couple of the other Buckeye Swedes. Hilda Svensson and Jenna Araunio. Now Constantinople, a key penalty killer for Northeastern, will clear the ice.
And then fresh legs out there. Huge to get the puck the length of the ice so you don't get pinned in. Quick shifts on the penalty kill. Critical.
Under 6 to go in this opening period. 1-0 Buckeyes. Power play expires. Back to even strength. Play called offside at the line. Ohio State looking to advance to another national title game. Still a lot of hockey to go until they can say that, but up 1-0, which has been a theme for them this season. 22-0 when scoring first.
Yeah, and they weathered that storm early. The Haley McLeod had to make some big saves. They had to figure out their D zone, and you know, they know when you're playing the underdog too that Northeastern, they're playing with house money right now. They expect to win, but no one else does. And so for them to come out there, come out hard, try to get that early lead like they did against Minnesota. Weren't successful, but still, as you said, a lot of hockey left.
And about 4-0 against Minnesota, which not many people expected to be saying that last weekend.
I know I was at my son's game, so I wasn't able to watch it live, but I was watching the scores, and I kept thinking, am I looking at this right? It's just not what you expected. Not that I didn't expect Northeastern to give them a game. I didn't expect it to be 3-0 in Northeastern's favor after the first period, and Dave Flint has done such a great job with this program. And you know, you talk about, you've got Beckler out there who has played for Team Switzerland in Milan, but he's had a number of Olympians come through this program, Kendall Coyne-Schofield and Alina Mueller and Florence Schelling, and among many others, Aaron Frankel.
It was so cool for Alessia Beckler to play with Alina Mueller in the Olympics, because Alina Mueller is one of the reasons why she chose Northeastern, one of her Swiss idols growing up. Mueller now with the Boston Fleet, so every now and then they get to have dinner together in Boston, which is so cool.
That is really cool. I mean, that's the great part. You think about this, the fact that Alina Mueller stayed around. She's 27 years old and played in the Olympics since she was 15.
Here with Coach Flint. Coach, we talked yesterday about wanting a fast start from your team and the compete level to be high. I thought you guys came out flying. Obviously, you're down by 1, but what do you think here through the first 15?
Yeah, I think we started out great. You know, we had that breakaway early. Would have been nice to capitalize on, but you know, I think we got to take a little better care of the puck, especially through the neutral zone, because they're quick in transition. But you know, we got to go play in their end a little bit. We're chasing the puck a little bit too much, but overall, decent start.
One more question, Coach. Striker Zablocki, her speed is absolutely lethal. How do you find ways to continue activating her here throughout the game?
Yeah, we just got to free her up, get pucks behind their defense, let her use her speed, skate onto pucks, and get to the net.
Thanks, Coach.
Zablocki has had a couple of chances. Svensson just forced a turnover there. Zablocki out on the ice, so that top line for Northeastern right now defending in their own zone. Peschel shot into the skates of Zablocki, then they both go tumbling down over each other.
You saw an example of their defenders trying to, they bobbled the puck. That's what Flynn's talking about. Protect the puck, manage the puck. You've got to have composure, especially in your Z zone.
Those subtle details is going to be so important to be tidy today for Northeastern. As Peschel fires the puck around. Buckeyes get fresh legs flooding into the zone. Northeastern with a good deep pairing back there. Their top pairing to handle this forechecking pressure. Constantinople looks over her shoulder and runs right into the Buckeyes. Forecheck on display here, and a battle in the corner ensues. Pride free up the wall. Ohio State looking to go back to work as Mira Unicare pumps it down the half wall. Lalonde battling in deep that time. Trying to get it out, couldn't. Another example of how tough it is to do that against Ohio State. Bella had it raked free. Possible 2-on-1 in the midst of a change. It's Malachino, a wrist shot. And he got through! Buckeyes score again! Same story, AJ. A quick re-entry, and Ohio State takes advantage to double up their lead for Malachino.
Well, Malachino had a great chance early on a wraparound, but she works for this. She back checks, she strips the player of the puck in the neutral zone, and lifts her stick, comes right back. You can see Northeastern has a chance to get the puck out of the zone here, try to get to the red line, and Malachino just outworks her. Comes back and re-attacks, as you said. She knows she has a player coming, puck on the net. Never a bad shot.
Took a second there, just bled through Janssen.
It's an unusual one for Janssen to give up. She has been so solid. 45 saves, rather, 45 against Minnesota. And she does better when she has a lot of high shot volume. She is a sophomore, so she isn't somebody that's been here on this stage before. Maybe there's some nerves playing, but they really need her to come up with one of her big time, find some of that magic that she's had so many times this season.
Got Joy Dunn flying right back into the zone for Ohio State. Unicare looking for the tip out in front. Amos was there. Now Disher down the wall. Players in defense for Ohio State get really aggressive and involved offensively. Seeing that with Disher, Unicare. Bogdan had it raked off her stick on a second effort. Lalonde can play it over McDermott to clear. And now enter the Ohio State zone. Drop pass for Bogdan, who fires. Buck never got through, then awkwardly dribbled down on McLeod.
Well, Northeastern has to get back on the attack for them. Down a hole here, two and change left in the first period. This isn't how they thought the first period would play out. And it's that speed. You heard Dave Flynn tell you, Madison, that put the pucks behind, let them go to work. They do have that speed. Right now, they look a little bit shocked by what Ohio State has thrown at them.
Easy thing to do, and they've got some young players over there. They're not getting frustrated.
Constantinople's blast caused the fray out in front. Now Beckler trying to hustle to keep it in, couldn't do so. Svensson on the move. The trailer with her. Now she'll drop it off. They score! Sunny Vatanen makes it 3-0 Ohio State.
Well, Ohio State is going to work. Haley McLeod is tested at the other end. And again, Ohio State, they get on their horses. They get through the neutral zone quickly. They don't mess around with it. And Svensson, she leads the team, but now with 51 points. Beautiful feed over, right on the stick, and an easy tap in there. You know, you look at what Janssen is, she's come up with some big saves. That's the last two, I think, are ones that she would have had in other games. And now they need to get to the break. They need to get to zeros, reset the clock, see what they can do. And for Ohio State, they got to keep pouring it on.
That's exactly what they're doing right now. Morgan Jackson the other way for Northeastern. To the net as Abella, and Abella's backhand bid stops there by McLeod. Svensson was able to find Vananen, Olympian to Olympian, Sweden to Finland, and they get it past Janssen to make it 3-0 as they just keep coming in waves right now.
And that last goal that Ohio State just scored came off of a play in their D zone right there. Haley McLeod had a funky bounce come off her. Nobody could find it, including Haley McLeod. And when that puck finally landed, it was Ohio State that found it first, started the quick transition, and led to that goal. So Northeastern was right on the doorstep. They've had a couple good looks. It's a matter of them staying with it, and as you mentioned, Madison, not getting frustrated.
And all of Ohio State's opportunities have come off of either a pass off the pad type of play or lateral movement.
2 goals in a minute 3 for Ohio State. AJ, we talked about how this Buckeyes team is younger this year. That last one was freshman to freshman. They have players contributing up and down the lineup.
And you know, Ohio State usually is somebody, they feast off of the portal. They usually have older players.
Here's Unicare, put it towards the net, looking to make it 4-0. Had traffic out in front. Unicare calmly holds the line. Now Baxter moving in. Buckeyes just look a little faster all over the ice right now. Wrap around it, puck spills out. Rebound opportunity covered up by Janssen. Rasmussen, who tried to stuff it home. Another freshman.
And Rasmussen, she's playing it there. It's only dressed 11 forwards, too. So you got Rasmussen, you've got, in this situation, you have players that are jumping up, playing in different situations, different positions, and Rasmussen just can't get a handle on it. She can't find it from her skate to her stick, and Janssen's able to cover it up.
Ohio State's mindset they like to roll with is E plus R equals O, which is event plus response equals outcome. And they have responded to the early events that was Northeastern getting off to a strong start in this game. Since then, it's been all Buckeyes these last several shifts.
Well, you mentioned the line change, that the top line that Nadine Muzzerall had, and some of that is that 11 forwards that got 8D out there. So it was Jordan Baxter out centering Petrie and Rasmussen on that. So they trust their fitness. They're able to go 11 forwards, but it's certainly a lot of bench management for the coaching staff.
Cimarroni put it to the corner there. Sani Vannanen, latest goal scorer in the game, lost it. Bogdan able to elude Unicare out to center. Hard to even get past that center ice red line, though, cleanly right now for this Northeastern team. Ohio State's so aggressive. Another clean entry. Vannanen, a drop pass. Svensson back to Vannanen. Patiently put it out in front of the centering pass. Trying to step it home, side of the net now. Rolls out. Zablocki, if you're a Northeastern fan, you'd love for this line to have some room to roam. They do now. Here is Zablocki. A sprawling effort by Peschel, though, playing in her 4th straight Frozen 4. The little details all in favor of Ohio State right now. Here's Sloan Matthews right at Constantinople. Matthews goes down. 10 seconds left in the period. Been all Buckeyes the last few minutes. Zablocki tried to sling it across the ice. Matthews can still get a shot off here. Goes down deep to Dunn. 2 seconds left. Just floats down in front. Oh, did she beat the buzzer? She's in! Are you kidding me? This period for Ohio State ends with another goal to make it 4-0.
Wow, Northeastern just gave up. They thought that horn was going to go. They were headed to the locker room already, but Ohio State kept going. Emma Peschel, who, by the way, in this same shift, had an incredible play where she laid out flat to prevent a pass, a 3-on-2 against that super strong top line for Northeastern. So great defensive play, and then she gets the goal at the other end. What a shot. They got to drop the puck, by the way. You can't score at 0, so they're going to have to put something on the clock.
Wow, a buzzer beater from Peschel. As you said there, Northeastern just thought the period was over. Ohio State playing literally to the final second. The goal is good. They're just trying to figure out how much time is on the clock here.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, it doesn't really matter. It'll be less than a second, I imagine, or even just over a second. Nothing's going to happen, but you cannot, the score sheet cannot show zeros for a goal. So Emma Peschel all smiles looking, watching the Jumbotron, the replay of her goal. She even just sort of winged it, right? She shot off of a slap shot off her back foot and finds that top corner. Lisa Janssen, not somebody who is accustomed to giving up 4.
The Buckeyes, after a relatively strong first minutes for Northeastern, completely flipped the script the rest of the way. 4-0 Ohio State. Let's send it to the studio. Natalie? Amos going to take the face-off here against Shannon. The two top lines squaring off against each other.
Yeah, this top line for Northeastern was not as effective as Dave Flint was hoping. Couldn't utilize their speed. They just couldn't get the puck.
Here's Amos. Speaking of speed, takes a tumble on this fresh ice. Overskating the puck there was Jones, and it leads to a center pass there for Carmichael, and now trying to stuff it home. Puck gets out. Northeastern had trouble doing that in the first period. Clearing their zone cleanly. Constantinople on defense just moves it up herself and goes tumbling down and back in the net of McLeod. Wonder what Janssen's confidence is like right now after giving up that last goal, tail end of the period. Buckeyes moving with speed once again here. Shannon, the captain for Northeastern, can she try to just add some emotion to this period for Northeastern and get them going? AJ, you have a period like the one Northeastern had in the locker room between periods, giving up that late one especially. What's said to try to ignite that emotion that seems to lack right now?
Well, I mean, they really, for 15 minutes, they played on their heels. They were playing, they were chasing the puck, playing catch up. And you're right, that last goal with under a second to go in the period, that was the real backbreaker, even though it was already 3-0. You know, for them, it's a reset. They had that time in the locker room. They had a time they could for me, it would be readjusting my gear, untying my skates, you know, sort of just taking a deep breath and sort of re-attacking the game, starting fresh, acting like it's 0-0.
Madison, as a player in that situation, what would you be doing between periods?
Yeah, I agree with AJ on that. And also, we spent a lot of time talking with this group yesterday, right, about they're not just happy to be here. They want to be a team that people can rely on and prove to people that it's not a mistake that they beat Minnesota. So I think for them, this is just all character and grit and a reputation game for them from this point on out.
Well, I think there's always a talk about different leagues, too, and they lost the Hockey East Championship game in a heartbreaker to UConn in overtime. Really good battle between those teams. And for Northeastern, they turned around and were able to go to the quarterfinal, and were the only one of those two teams to go make it out of the quarterfinal, and said that UConn was actually a tougher opponent than Minnesota. They really felt like Hockey East was, that battle in the final was a strong display of hockey.
Yeah, multiple close battles in UConn this year that went right down to either overtime or the final minute. Now a blast in the high slot. Swiderski's shot goes wide, and Janssen opts to cover up as Joy Dunn was crashing in.
We talked the offense for Ohio State. They like to possess the puck. When they don't, they have full commitment. How about you got Sarah Swiderski here, number 4 on the back check. Right before this, she actually directed traffic. She looked back, she had Emma Peschel. She used her right hand or free hand to direct Emma Peschel. I got her, you go over there. Great communication, great cohesiveness for that team on the defense on the back check. Sarah Swiderski, obviously a defender, so when she's back checking, something's gone wrong, but she did a great job of breaking up that play.
Buckeyes just look so motivated right now. You could feel that in our conversations with them over the last couple of days. Joy Dunn, one of the players we chatted with, she's one who's not afraid to tell you they really, really want to avenge last year. We're 18.9 seconds away from a national championship. Ended up losing in overtime on the instant classic goal from Kirsten Sims. You see the record when scoring 4 or more goals for Coach Muzzerall and the team. Right now, here's Amos right back in, the drop off to Dunn. Rare misconnection, I should say, between those two as Dunn pulls it off the end boards. Now play it up. Long shot goes wide. Now Dunn gets it right back once again, curling around the net, has Disher out in front. Dunn and Amos have been playing together for 3 years, so much chemistry between those two. Even when they make the slight change to that line on the opposite wing, Dunn has it right back once again. Emerging out of the corner, swaps places with Swiderski. Does a lap in the offensive zone and leaves it off for Peschel. Pump it down the wall. Carmichael, the addition to that line today, doing some good work below the goal line, but Northeastern's able to clear. All those little battles along the wall.
Well, and for Northeastern, they're given no chance right now to collect the puck and make a decision. Ohio State is smothering. They are taking all the time and space away, even on that last play in their D zone for Northeastern. Huron had a chance to get the puck out, and she lost the handle, and then Ohio State immediately goes back to work on the attack.
like you mentioned, there's just not much time and space. Here's a little time and space to exit for Langlois, so she'll play it down. Bella in the opposite corner.
Well, the challenge, too, if you're playing in your D zone so much, you get it to the red line, you dump it in because you're tired.
Stricken, and that is Matthews. Couldn't quite settle the puck down. Langlois plays it up the wall. Unicare back there. Launched it across. Unicare took a hard hit in the WCHA postseason. Came back for that Yale game, which Ohio State won 6-1. And this winner to play the winner of Penn State and Wisconsin still to follow. Buckeyes go right back to work, not allowing Northeastern to clear at all costs. Rasmussen, the freshman, spins it back to the goal. About 6 minutes into the second period, played out in front, nobody home, but Carmichael right down the wall to pounce on it. She'll curl around the net of Janssen, puts it up to Disher, transferred in from BU last year. Disher's long shot held on to. First shot on goal of the period for either team, but it almost doesn't feel that way. Ohio State picking up where they left off. Strong start, putting their imprints on period 2.
Welcome back to the Frozen Four. I'm here with Coach Muzzerall. Great start for your group. You talked about a relentless pursuit of perfection. It's 4-0, but I know you're not satisfied. What went right for the group, and what do you keep focusing on here moving forward?
Yeah, we're getting pucks in deep, and then we're using our relentless forecheck, creating turnovers. I think we got to polish it up a little bit more in the neutral zone, and I give it to Northeastern, right? Like, they're not going to go away, and when we scored, they punched back and almost scored right after. So it's a long hockey game, but I like that we're funneling pucks on her.
So I got to ask, the shoes. Tell the fans about the shoes.
Well, my husband got me a nice Christmas present. He said, I guess this is your new signature, so own it.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Always on Fashion Watch when Coach Muzzerall is in the building. I'll show you those shoes pretty soon here. By the way, Ohio State won the 2022 National Championship in this building. So they have some good memories here of going all the way. Joy Dunn has won a national title and lost a national title. She has the puck right now. Will spin it in deep. Amos, her line mate. Phenomenal skater, Amos. We talked to her about that yesterday. Has been working with her skating coach, Kathy McAway, since 5th grade. A lot of 7 a.m. sessions to get where she is now. Pumps the puck up to the point. Now Swiderski will spin it towards the net. Off a body in front. Believe it might have gotten through there. Janssen trying to keep her poise and keep her composure, facing a flurry of opportunities again for the Buckeyes as Zablocki, Karan, and Shannon, the top line for Northeastern, try to break out. Been so tough through the neutral zone, tough sledding, although AJ, as Coach Muzz said, they're still maybe needed to polish things up somehow in the neutral zone.
Yeah, well, and that's what makes Nadine Muzzerall such a great coach. She's always looking to get better. She's never satisfied. A lot of hockey left. These are great teams.
Off the pad that time of Janssen. Puck spills out. This Northeastern team does have talented players, and they can just find a way to get some time in the offensive zone or maybe get on a power play. We can see that talent, but right now it's just being used to get the puck out of their own end at the moment. Constantinople claims it. Nice move here, trying to scoot around Unicare, and does. Constantinople put it out in front, had Morgan Jackson on the doorstep. Couldn't quite connect with her. Here's Jackson, another one of those really talented offensive players for Northeastern. She's got 12 goals in the season, 29 points total. The Buckeyes will skate it out cleanly. Turned over, though, at the Northeastern line. Now Lalonde comes in over the Buckeye line. Good back check there from Carmichael. McDermott in the corner, spins it around. Allard waiting for the puck, gets it. Back in deep for McDermott, and a change in the process for Northeastern. Got Brazis out there along with Bogdan, who swept it right out in front of Brazis. Now pulled off the wall by Lloyd. She'll go to the net, looking for the give and go that time, but a good heady defensive play there by Mira Unicare. One of the reasons why she is an Olympian for Sweden.
Northeastern a little bit of zone time here, but no shots on goal in over 10 minutes. which takes us back to the end of the first period.
Here's McDermott trying to make a move to the backhand.
Still not at this point too. You just got to get shots on net. They're looking for cute plays, get a shot on net, crash, and you never know what's going to happen. Haley McLeod, obviously an excellent goaltender, made some good saves early in the first period, but has not been tested lately.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, AJ, they need to use their speed. That was working well for them in the beginning of the game, using their speed to the outside, creating opportunities. They just have stopped doing that.
Madison, you talked about that stretch pass as well earlier, so we get a penalty coming up here. See if they can try to utilize that more as we're going to get the call coming up.
Number 18, Ohio State, 2 minutes, cross-checking.
Well, Cimarrone's in the penalty box here. First penalty kill for Ohio State, and there's a look at it after the puck leaves. Obviously, always a little tough to tell timing in a slow motion, but certainly a blindside hit a little bit from behind. So a 2-minute power play for Northeastern. Huge moment for Northeastern. Can they chip away at this huge deficit they're in?
So now Lloyd up at the line. Big opportunity right now for the Huskies. It's a nice defensive play by Amos to play it out and harasses Lloyd all the way back to the boards. Rightly Jones, long feed.
Ohio State is very aggressive on their penalty kill.
Here's Zablocki in with Karan. Zablocki tried to go to the backhand. Never quite got the shot off she wanted to. Then Dunn didn't like the extra tap and gave Zablocki a hit into the boards. Zablocki, the Hockey East Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year.
Well, you know, you look at what Zablocki's trying to do. She fakes the shot, pulls, then she's trying to get it back, and it's just broken up there by Joy Dunn, so she can't get the puck back. I love that striker Zablocki goes to the goalie. I love that she's looking for the loose change there. And by the way, I also love Joy Dunn's response. You've got to protect your goaltender.
Getting a little chippy here in the second period. Zablocki, 19 goals this season, gets the puck back. Operating along that half wall, the net front is Lily Shannon. Really good net front presence. Karan tried to center there for Shannon right out in front. Spills back up to the point.
Good recovery there too. That's good work by Northeastern to try to figure out, anticipate where the puck's coming.
And they get one on the board here. Zablocki dancing past Unicare. Bended off the puck. He's able to drop it off to Karan. Now up at the line, rolling with it is Lloyd. Watched there by Svensson, and it's tapped out. Good defensive play by Unicare. Now Karan goes down, was looking around for a call. 42 seconds left on the power play for Northeastern. They're getting a change to the second power play unit right now. Lalonde, Beckler, Jackson out there with Constantinople and Langlois right now. Trying to get set up in the offensive zone. Well, they still have some time left on this power play opportunity, down 4 goals. Jackson will roll around the net, fit it off for Lalonde. Goes up to Constantinople. Beckler, the Olympian, shot taken there by Jackson. Rebound was available for a second before it's covered up by McLeod.
Good zone time, good zone presence for the Huskies. Keeping in not many in-tight chances. That last one probably the best, but I like the way they did play with confidence, found a little bit of rhythm. And you look, Langlois is trying to find that puck, trying to find that rebound to bury it. But, you know, obviously they want to get a goal. That's the most successful power play. But for them, that built a little bit of momentum, and maybe they could take a deep breath. Okay, that's what it feels like to be back in the offensive zone. Let's try to do that 5-on-5.
Ohio State, best face-off team in the country, wins the important face-off to kill off the rest of the Northeastern power play. Amos, so fun to watch in tight areas like that. Able to spin it to the slot, had Dunn out in front. Jackson looking to clear. Good hold there from Raunio. Madison, this just isn't a situation that Northeastern has been in a ton this year. What's the sense of the bench right now, the emotion like down there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're actually starting to see a little bit of life come back to this bench. I think that sustained pressure they had there on the power play in the offensive zone helped a little bit. To AJ's point, a little familiarity in the offensive zone. Starting to see some smiles come back on faces over here.
What a chance there that was for Jaden Bogdan. Just couldn't get a handle on that intercepted pass coming off the bench.
This game feels so similar to Ohio State's semifinal last year against Cornell. Just the relentlessness as Matthews in back of the net tries to get something else going here for the Buckeyes. Svensson playing with Matthews today. Will pump it up to the line. McCaution puts it in deep. Svensson, who's been so impressive this year, talked about her story. WCHA Rookie of the Year, coming over from Sweden, leading the team in points. Not easy to do as a freshman on this Buckeye team that is younger this season as the battle ensues along the boards. So go all the way down and we get an icing call with 7:21 to go in the second period. No goals on the board for the Buckeyes in this period, but a similar feel. The lone power play opportunity unsuccessful for Northeastern. So we got a face-off coming up after the icing. See Nadine Musrell doing some coaching there. Her players just love her so much, and you can feel that love between her and the culture she's built with Ohio State women's hockey.
Some of it is that she recruits players that are susceptible or receptive, rather, I guess, to that culture, because it's very structured. It's very strict. She expects certain things from them, and I think that that's something that has made them, obviously, it's easy to buy into when they've been as successful as they have, but there's certainly a certain type of player that she targets.
And I have to imagine it helps with team culture as well, knowing that the person next to you is entirely bought in and not having to question.
Their mindset today was be a one-shift warrior, win it shift by shift. And we have seen a snapshot of that on each and every individual shift today for Ohio State. Amos once again loads up a wrist shot and a save made by Janssen.
I mean, right now, Ohio State is just, they're fierce and they're battling, but there's a calmness about it too. There's no panic. They're just winning every race to the puck. They're winning the physical battles. And, I think for Northeastern, now we get their top line back out here. Now, can they try to put that puck into space and maybe see if number 21 can utilize that blazing speed that has been so effective for them all season long?
We saw it very early on in the game. We know they have the capability to do it. Battle in the corner. Most of these battles have gone to Ohio State today. That's been a difference as well. Another battle goes to the Buckeyes. Now a centering pass and a shot from Swiderski. Bended off there by Janssen. Janssen had 45 saves against Minnesota, 54 saves in the prior game against UConn, which was a career high. Janssen's parents are here from Sweden today. And now a centering pass out in front. Northeastern an opportunity there with that top line out. Zablocki was right on the doorstep on the back door. Constantinople looking for a tip. A little friendly fire, unfortunately. Zablocki is stuck, having some issues getting over to the bench, and she was hurt by that shot.
I hope that's just a stinger. That's not good news for the Huskies or their fans, seeing striker Zablocki skate to the net.
Cimarroni a wrister, gloved down but not held on to by Janssen.
I take that back. You always want to see her skate to the net. I meant skate to the bench.
Constantinople trying to poke it out. Buckeyes say we're not done yet. Sani Vaninen, who scored one of the goals today. A blast from the Unicare. New additions for Ohio State this year in their first Frozen Four. We talked about some of the names that have been in 1, 2, 3, even 4 Frozen Fours now for Ohio State as a collision happens at center ice between Abella and Unicare, but some of the new faces to this stage also really stepping up for Ohio State today. Amos had that tripped off her stick by a back-checking Jackson. Now on the move is Abella. Ohio State in their 6th consecutive Frozen Four. They scored first today, unblemished when they've done that, unblemished when they've scored 4 goals on the season. 13 total players from last year's Frozen Four. So 13 that in some way or another felt the emotion of the national championship loss, trying to avenge that. They've come out looking extremely motivated today.
Good news for the Huskies here. Looks like striker Zablocki is back up at the door.
That's great to hear. One of the most talented young players in the nation. She's been fun to watch despite the score on the board so far. Northeastern are going to have to tag up here. The outshot 27-11 in this one. Brazis cruising over the line. Arister that goes wide.
The energy's shifting down here a little bit. You're starting to see it on the ice. Northeastern's getting more opportunity, but the energy on the benches is shifting as well.
They've had a couple of shots. That one sailed wide, but you know the big thing to me is going to be traffic.
Shot held onto as we see Zablocki back out there. So again, this is the first of two semifinals today. Penn State arriving for their maiden Frozen Four appearance as the host team this weekend. Just want to catch you up on the fit here for Nadine Muzzerall. Those are the
Wow.
so. I mean, I don't even know what color to describe those as. They are sparkling. They're phenomenal. They're 10 out of 10, and then some.
There are not a lot of things that make me speechless. That is one of them.
I was like, how do I describe these right now? I think we're both speechless.
How's she managing down there, Madison?
I said to her after the interview there, I told her that I changed my outfit today because of her, and there's her kids. We got all the coaches' kids here right back behind the bench. It's a great cheering section. We got some custom hoodies. The kids are into it, but her fit today is 10 out of 10, although she's got the shoes off now behind the bench, which I think is,
you know,
is awesome.
She does that a lot. She goes barefoot. And by the way, thank God she does, because I think I sprained my ankle watching her wear those heels. Those are
nice. Yeah, they're nice.
Her kids, Brady and Isabella, back there. Brady loves women's hockey. He does a PWHL draft. His favorite players are Abby Murphy and Caroline Harvey. And Caroline FaceTimed him on Christmas. How about that for a Christmas gift? And he'll get to watch her in person next up when Wisconsin takes the ice against Penn State. And Isabella is an amazing wrestler, state title winner. She's wrestling up. She's in 6th grade, but wrestling against 7th and 8th graders. So they're both here today and absolutely loving the hockey. Brady may be a future commentator as well. Loves doing play-by-play while he's shooting pucks of himself.
Their penalty here.
Lily Shannon a little banged up.
She's in a lot
Number
of
29, Ohio State, is going to assess 2 minutes for hooking.
I'll tell you, Cassidy Carmichael is somebody I'm very familiar with. Coached her since he was about 8 years old and took a ton of penalties for me. And here she is taking a penalty on a much bigger stage than U10 state championship. But there she is hauling her down. And now another big opportunity for the Huskies power play when we come back.
See Lily Shannon still recovering from that last hook slash that she took. Only player in the nation with 40 points and 40-plus blocked shots this year.
200-foot player, that's a definition of that, the way that she plays in all 3 zones.
She's trying to still shake that off.
And she's a very important net front player, does a really good job grinding in front of the net, finding those loose pucks, so they're going to miss her here early on the man advantage.
So AJ, I believe they're starting with the 2nd unit out here because of that.
Yep, and hopefully they look like they're going to try to get her back. She's still on the bench. She's just trying to get over that stinger.
Beckler rolling with it. One-timer from Constantinople goes wide, and Jackson tried to put it out in front where Langlois is at the moment on that net front position. Short-handed is Joy Dunn. She's already scored at even strength today. Pulls up. She'll bleed some time off this Northeastern power play.
How about Joy, though, playing back there at defensive position on the penalty kill? She gets that puck instead of just winging it down the ice like most people would do. She has the poise, the confidence, trusts her team, and she skates it the whole way.
They're on the verge of killing about 40 seconds off this power play and then some because of what Joy Dunn just did. What was the most impressive part of her game in the Olympics?
You know, to me, she started on what was listed as the 4th line, although John Wroblewski certainly played them all and worked her way up, ended up on the top line, and Alex Carpenter. And, you know, I love the way her wall play was, to me, the most impressive. She's big, she's strong, And you know that about her, but the way she would go into every battle along the wall and come out with the puck was impressive to me. She had a couple beautiful goals, but I loved the style that she played over there.
Was the youngest player on Team USA, had 2 goals, 3 assists during her Olympic run.
And it was great. Her parents were there, and her brother Josh was there. He plays for the Buffalo Sabres. He's dating Ella Shelton on Team Canada, so he was what they called Switzerland. Their mother joked that he was going to be wearing a Switzerland jersey, but I actually had a Buffalo game afterwards and talked to him about it. He said, I wasn't rooting for either team. I wasn't rooting for either team. So hopefully she is one of 6 siblings. 2 of her sisters, Jessica and Jitsi, played here at Ohio, or not here, but played at Ohio State. Jessica and Josie, Josie's here today cheering her on. Her parents are here. I believe her other brother is here as well. So all J names, which is impressive.
Join the J party.
That's right. And you know what? I asked her mom about it actually in Milan. She said it wasn't on purpose. It's just names we liked. I said, okay, that's hard to believe, but okay, I'll give it to you.
I love it. A lot of family from all 4 teams here this weekend. Got a lot of fun stories to dip into throughout this semifinal Friday here at Pegula Ice Arena at State College. 22 seconds left on a power play for Northeastern that saw a good chunk of it get killed off by a really nice play by Joy Dunn. Under a minute to go now in period 2. It's that top unit for Northeastern finishing off the power play because they started with the second unit on after Shannon was still shaking off the slash that she took. It's dropped off. Zablocki had to go through her skates. Shannon recovers. She'll survey the situation, go on her backhand, try to put it to the slot. Glove down. Riley Jones couldn't settle it down. 38 seconds left in the period. Carmichael on the move. In with Baxter. The trailer there with her is Petrie as well, shorthanded. 25 seconds left in period 2. That'll do it for the Northeastern power play. Second of the night, couldn't capitalize on either one. Praises, spins it out in front, trying to sprawl to get something on that was McDermott. Beckler did well to hold it in for just a moment. Ohio State had a buzzer beater in the first period. Can they get another one here? Northeastern knows they can't stop skating this time. And Allard will just drift back. And Ohio State 29-0 this year when leading after 2 periods. Holds a 4-0 lead, a period away from punching a ticket to Sunday. We'll send it to the studio. Natalie.
Yeah, and you know, you think about that, those chances. They did get a couple looks, and heard Malachino talking to Madison between periods, and she said, we didn't like that period. That was a rough period for us. Still 0-0. They still outshot them 9-4 in that second stanza, but they did not. It really shows the championship mindset and culture that they have. They're perfectionists. They don't like anything to not go their way. They want the ice tilted.
Zablocki will leave it off. Northeastern's 4th Frozen 4 appearance, first since 2023. Constantinople, a key part of getting them there this year. Lost it along the wall, though. Shannon puts a hit into the body of Carmichael there, who's been really good slotting up to that top line, which Coach Muzzarall has kept together. And now a shot from Peschel goes high, off the end boards. Lily Shannon can break out, scoots around Amos with a nice move. Sliding away over the line to Zablocki. She'll fire on goal, and it's held onto by McLeod. Hey, Madison.
Hey, that's a good opportunity there from Zablocki. They're going to need more of that. Northeastern, it's going to be a tale of 2 different periods here, in my opinion. Northeastern, I think, needs to find the back of the net early, needs to make something happen. In Ohio State, to AJ's point, they need to keep things moving forward and keep things, you know, on track. They don't want to develop bad habits heading into Sunday if they get there. So they need to keep things on track, and I think that Northeastern needs to pop one in here pretty quickly if they want any chance of getting back into this game.
And for Northeastern, those shots and the chances that you're talking about, Madison, to me, it's also about getting traffic in front. They've got to have that net crasher, and they've got to try to win that battle in that house area.
Exactly. Take a page almost out of Ohio State's book, if you will.
Sloan Matthews goes cruising into the zone. She's had a really good game today. Tried to move it over to her backhand, and it gets saved by Janssen. And now room to roam through center for Allard and Jackson. Haven't said that a ton today for Northeastern, cleanly entering the zone. Trailers are on the arrival. It's Abella trying to slip her way around the corner there. Disher there defensively. Matthews will leave it for Disher. The forecheck was good early on for Northeastern in this game. Created some turnovers, created some chances. They do that here, creating a turnover. Now can they create a chance off of it? Fresh off the bench, a wrist shot, blocked. Nice play by Matthews. It was Beckler who came in.
Great steal behind the net there, too. That was you talk about the turnovers, and that was Ali Lalonde who stripped Ohio State of the puck.
Play was whistled down offside at the line. 18:08 to go in the third. Take another look at that here, AJ.
Well, and some of the details that we're talking about for Ohio State are blocking shots, being responsible. So Beckler comes off the bench, beautiful pass from Lalonde, and then how about that block from Sloan Matthews? Straight out, make sure it stays away, as far away from Haley McLeod as possible.
Another clean entry for Northeastern. Heschel back now defensively for the Buckeyes. Heschel for 37 points this season. National title was played in her home state of Minnesota last year. Trying to avenge that loss and punch a ticket to Sunday. Cimarroni, talented freshman, was on the move with Malachino there, who scored a goal in this game. 13th of the season. Peschel's calling for it. Instead, they'll send it up here. Long shot from Swiderski. Score! The Buckeyes continue to pour it on.
Well, Janssen had a good second period. She got a little bit of help, and then there's a lot of traffic in front. This is a place that Janssen has shown this year, is trying to track the puck through traffic, but it's a tip off of her own player that makes that puck change direction. It's a tip out high. But look, this is a great shot at it too. You can see there's moving traffic, but she does have a good look at that from that tip, which was out above the dots, above the circles.
Swiderski's 8th, the 21st time they've scored 5 or more goals this year.
And Madison, you were talking about Northeastern getting on the board early. That would have been critical. That's a really tough one, just because they played catch up through the second period, felt pretty good about keeping it 0-0, and now a 5-goal hole is a really tough task.
Yeah, and if I'm Ohio State, there's a lot going on down here right now. If I'm Ohio State, I want to be disciplined. I want to be careful. In my opinion, there is no penalty worth it at this point, missing out on a game on Sunday. There's bodies flying down here. There's sticks flying. Ohio State just needs to recognize that that's not a battle they're going to win at this point, right?
Yeah, and you got
5-goal game.
Yeah, and you got Jordan Baxter looking frustrated, going to the bench. She's double shifted. Here's a look at what happened. Just steps in. A good. I mean, it's a good check. Again, goes back to women's hockey, that gray area of body contact but not body checking. I love when they play physical. That was deemed a body check, and now an opportunity for Northeastern to just try to get rid of that donut on the board.
Second straight time that they'll start with that second unit out on the power play to begin things for the Huskies. Jackson off the wall. Buckeyes have done well to keep everything to the outskirts of the zone when Northeastern has been on the power play, if they have been in the zone.
A hand pass right there, but yeah, Northeastern also has to be aggressive here. They've got to take risks. They've got the end of their, staring down the barrel of the end of their season in a 5-goal hole. Critical right now to try to score a goal. They can't be complacent. They've got to go to every loose puck.
Nice face-off win there.
Yeah, that was something we talked about yesterday, Madison. If Northeastern could win face-offs in this game, it would be a significant advantage, but Ohio State just so tough to do that against consistently. Battle in the corner now. Along the wall, Jackson will play it up to the point. Beckler dancing with it there. Again, held to the outside, trying to get into that house area, but so tough to do.
Yeah, Ohio State's just doing a better job of anticipating loose pucks and taking that first initial step a second faster than the Huskies.
And to your point, too, about the traffic in front, AJ, Ohio State's getting bodies in front, but then Northeastern is not clearing bodies out, and they're adding to the traffic.
Zablocki back in now. Got that net front presence with Shannon. Couldn't get it through, though, and it's cleared once again.
Another block shot there. That's Emma Peschel. Blocked and iced.
There's Lily Shannon. roll it to the corner. Up the line, Abella to Jones. Jones just trying to get pucks toward the net now, create something out in front, but they'll have to tag up again here.
You got to make sure if you're off angle like that for Northeastern, you can't miss the net wide, especially the way that they're structured. Miss the net wide, you lose the zone.
Near turnover, Cimarroni wreaking havoc back there on the penalty kill. She took it away. Oh, backhand bin out in front for Amos. Goes wide, short-handed chances for Ohio State now. Dunn will just rag it back and kill off the rest of this power play for Northeastern. Dunn goes right back in. Power move, Joy Dunn, a backhander. Johnson had to be ready again.
Well, Dunn has played goalie, she's played defense, and now she's a forward in college, so she certainly has that perspective from all the positions. You can see defense on the penalty kill, and she's able to really utilize size, speed, and her vision to create offense, even shorthanded.
Reyes had it poked off her stick. Good last-second play from Jordan Petrie to prevent Northeastern again from getting a shot off. McDermott threw it up the slot, held in there by Allard. Joy Dunn, again, you could feel the motivation radiating off of her. We chatted with her yesterday, and you could also feel the emotion. As soon as the national championship ended last year, like these other Buckeyes, they were heartbroken, but they're back and motivated on the big stage in this semifinal. 13:52 away from getting back to the national championship. Because once again, they're able to clear their own zone. Northeastern with a 4-2 win over Minnesota to get here. They have had a fantastic season, but need something and need it in a hurry.
It's interesting, Northeastern came into the tournament 5 and Minnesota was 4, so it wasn't a huge upset, but it felt that way just because Minnesota has been to the Frozen Four. Last year they hosted it and they lost in the semifinals, so the expectation was that the Gophers would be here this weekend, and Northeastern took care of that.
The Ohio chants starting to break out here in State College. Buckeyes making their imprint felt throughout the course of this entire period so far. And the latest goal coming from Swiderski, her 8th of the season. 27 points now for the Langley, BC native. Peyton Compton cruising in, fires, that fended off by McLeod.
Joy Dunn. She's known as big, she's strong, not necessarily fast, but man, she's hard to catch and contain. Still 5-0 Ohio State.
Roll's team in command right now. 12:10 to go, 12:10 until they are back to Sunday, back to the national championship game. This roster younger this year, but the experience of the 13 that played in the championship game last year, and the new faces have performed super well today as well. Made a change to the top line, and they just kind of ran with it, which we weren't expecting. Svensson drops down to the second line, spreading the wealth around, and then adding that net front presence with Carmichael. So Joy Dunn and Jocelyn Amos, speaking of the net front, they go right there, side of the net, streaking in with Cimarroni. And now they pick it off at center ice. Amos once again in the momentum. Amos fires. That goes high. Then a follow-up shot. Johnson had to make another save.
You know, you talk about the line changes for Ohio State. They win the
backhander out in front. Amos, what a shift for her.
The WCHA final face-off, and they knock off Wisconsin. They take over the top seed, and they roll through the quarterfinals. So a bit of a surprise that Muzz changed up the lines, but certainly that works here. And she had her eyes on this tournament and what these opponents would be able to do or not do. And I like what she's done in terms of spreading out the offense between the top 6.
9-game winning streak coming into today as Dunn tried to center out in front there for Amos again. Another strip in the corner, just making all the little plays work for them right now. Carmichael, the spin, and she was the new addition to that line. Swapping places with Suderski.
They announced her at the starting lineup as a junior. She is just a freshman, a true freshman too.
A lot of good hockey for her left in that career. Now opportunity opposite way for Northeastern. Through center ice, Lalonde tries to poke it down. McLeod, who hasn't faced a ton of shots since that opening portion of the first period, back and ready once again. Now Peschel still out there. Tries to drag her way around Tristan Thompson, who has the long stick at 6'1". Another battle won along the wall, led to a shot from the point. Madison, when we were chatting with that top line yesterday, well, at the time, at least the top line of Svensson, Dunn, and Amos, it felt like, you know, you plug Amos and Dunn with just about anyone on the other wing, they can help you out and make it work.
Yeah, and they have an exude confidence, and they love playing together. Obviously, they shook it up, but I wonder, AJ, curious to get your opinion. I wonder if we don't see Coach shake it up again, assuming things stand and this team plays on Sunday. She has enough confidence in that whole group up front.
Yeah, you know, and I think that Muzz is a very experienced coach. She trusts her crew, but she also has a very distinct structure, and she doesn't play free necessarily in terms of looseness. And I think she will play to her opponent. So it will depend on who wins the next semifinal. Wisconsin and Penn State have very different styles of play. So it'll depend what she wants. As the #1 seed, she will get last change. So that's going to certainly play into it in terms of who she can get out at any certain time.
The whistle will stop play here. It was odd sequences. Zablocki made the spin move, but then a Brownio stick went flying up into the air. And now Karan's going to go to the box.
Minor penalty, Northeastern. Interference.
So an interference call and a power play on the other side of the break for the Buckeyes. We showed you Penn State arriving earlier. There's Wisconsin. See Layla Edwards, Caroline Harvey making their way in for game #2.
Well, an opportunity for Ohio State to pad their already substantial lead. It's 5-0 here with not just under 9 minutes to go. And here's a look at Eloise Karen for the Northeastern Huskies. She's the one taking the penalty, and it's a interference call right there, a little helicopter situation with her opponent's stick, and now they've got to kill a penalty. Not what they want to do. Obviously, they've got a tall task anyway here with the 5-goal hole. But that's a tough one. That's a little, it was frustrating. She was trying to sort of make her presence known, but definitely an aggressive stick lift.
The previous play is now under review for potential head contact here. See if we end up getting another look at it, but that is what they are reviewing at the moment.
Here's a look at the where they are reviewing here in the arena. They have a bunch of screens, a bunch of different looks, and you can see on the left side here whether they're going to be able to make a case for head contact. Getting a look at what the officials are looking at too as they try to determine whether there's head contact and therefore further penalties. Nadine Muzzerall from Ohio State challenged this play, looking for head contact, which would be a major penalty.
AJ, we've talked a bunch this game about the rules and rule change and the hitting in the PWHL, or the body contact, I should say. Do you think that's a rule and a change that we're going to see on the women's side in college hockey in the near future?
I do, and I hope we do, because I think it makes it more consistent. That's the biggest thing to me. These players are fast, they're strong. This game is amazing, and there's less whistles, but I think it just allows more consistency from officiating crews from game to game. That's my opinion on it. I do think we're going to start to see more of it. Here comes the call.
After video review, the video is inconclusive. Ohio State loses their timeout.
So that's a frustrating wording for the official. Obviously, that is well, let's bring Dave Jackson, our rules analyst, in, but saying that the video is inconclusive, there's no way to overturn it. Jax, what'd you see?
AJ, I'm not sure about the wording, but I like that. There was no arm in the air. There's no penalty call. This is a challenge. Remember, when a challenge is called, you only have two options. Either call the major penalty or nothing. You don't have the option of reducing it to 2 minutes. They didn't feel, based on the replays, that there was enough evidence to give a major penalty there. So you live with a no call, and the team loses their timeout.
Thanks, Jax. Always love your perspective and helping us interpret these rules. What I meant by the wording of it is by saying the video is inconclusive, I think, for Nadine Muzzerall. In some ways, you just want to say, hey, we didn't see head contact, right? We're making the call, and said the ref is sort of couching maybe his, that he didn't make a call there. But either way, Ohio State has a power play and no more timeouts.
Appreciate Jax joining our Women's Frozen Four coverage this season. So to the power play goes the Buckeyes. Nice cross-ice feed. Amos, tic-tac-toe, they go. Downloaded, done. Now she puts it back out in front for Amos, trying to get it past Janssen. Sloan Matthews at the side of the net. Svensson, deal it over to Raunio. The two Swedes go back and forth. Down low, Matthews turns, fires off a body in front. Dunn, who has been phenomenal in all three zones today, puts it right back down. They try to go across the seam there for Matthews. Bogdan has it. Can she clear it? Is the question mark. Could not. Joy Dunn strips it right back. Bank it off the board. Svensson with it. To Raunio. 1:09 to go on the power play. Buck sent off a sharp angle and off the side of the net, and then cleared by Northeastern.
Some elite puck movement there on that power play from Ohio State.
Peschel up the wing, and it's everyone on this power play, both units, they all contribute in some way or another. It's a tough power play to stop, ranking top 5 in the country most of the season. Unicare and Peschel up top now. Peschel, her shot from the point is lethal. We've seen it a couple of times since she scored in this game. 25 seconds left on the power play. Here is Peschel back over to Unicare, who has 6 goals this season. Still 18 seconds left. Malachino in the slot, and it goes up and out of play.
Look at Malachino, who the one who told Madison they were not happy with the second period. Of course, they're looking at a 5-0 lead right now with 7 minutes left here, and trying to punch their ticket back to the championship game, which would be 5 years in a row. They played the last 4, flip-flopped with Wisconsin the last 3. And for Ohio State, as you mentioned, they won here in this building in 22. They lost to Wisconsin in 23. Beat Wisconsin and then lost to them again last year.
It's been the recent exchange. Badgers and Buckeyes blast, and the point goes wide. 10 minutes before that 2022 game for the national title. Buckeyes going to go back to her again. Nadine Muzzerall wrote down in a napkin, told her team, let's demoralize their living soul with every second of this game. And 2022, they did that in this building. Trying to do that again today, off to a good start with that mindset in 2026. Now back at Pagula, where they have good memories in the Frozen Four. Baxter will deal it across to Dunn, who turns, trying to hook it back around for Baxter, and it's cleared out. Coach Muzzerall in our conversation yesterday, I felt like I could have ran through a wall for her. Speaking of demoralizing living soul, is like her ability to come up with things like that 10 minutes beforehand. She likes to do it on the fly, but that energy is not necessarily impromptu. It's within her all the time, and just lets the moment come, lets a top line change come to her when she feels fit, and it's working out.
Well, I think good coaches, they have that all season long, right? I'm not in a long season. It starts in September. There's obviously ebbs and flows. You don't have it every day as a player, and you don't as a coach, but it's the habit. It's the consistency, and Nadine Muzzerall certainly has figured that out and created quite a legacy in Columbus. Ella Lloyd there took that puck on her backhand. She had plenty of time to try to get her feet around. She was able to take that on her forehand. She might have gotten a quicker shot and taken advantage of the net front traffic.
Lloyd on a freshman-senior pairing with Christina Allard. So Lloyd definitely has a lot of good hockey in front of her throughout her career. Just a freshman. Now we had a call after that play in the corner. See what's coming up. Looks like Cimarroni going to the box.
Minor penalty, Ohio State, number 18, body check.
So Cimarroni to the box because of this body check on Allard. And Northeastern time dwindling, 4:59 to go in the third period, down 5 goals. And Wisconsin, a little warm-up over at the practice rink right now, gearing up. The defending national champs are up next against Penn State.
Well, there's a look at Cassidy Carmichael. She's out here, number 29. That was back in 2018 at the Massachusetts State Championship U12. I also coach her U10. A little bit in U14. I might even coach her in U8. I've had her for a long time. We had good run there. Assistant coach Tim Driscoll. We had Mike Lambert. We had my daughter Jamie Griswold was on that team too. But Cassidy was a force. Scored a lot of goals for us. Took a ton of penalties for us, and she could handle it. Her mom, Kristen Carmichael's here. Dad Gator. Kristen was a two-sport athlete, soccer and softball at UVM. So certainly has some fierce competitive streak in her, but man, she's just got an edge to her, but she plays on the line in a good way.
Redshirting lacrosse this year, right?
She is. Oh yeah, and by the way, yeah, you don't even know, she was the #1 recruit coming out for lacrosse. Said she wouldn't even consider going to school without hockey. So Ohio State, of course, salivating to get her out in the field, but decided this year to not play, which is great, because then her 5th year she'll be able to play a full lacrosse season, because of course lacrosse is probably halfway over at this point. But she's an attacker, played out of Westford Academy. Last year lost in the state final to Concord Carlisle, but man, she was a beast. Got player of the year in lacrosse last year in the state of Massachusetts. So she is quite an athlete.
Mom was a two-sport athlete.
Yep.
Softball, soccer in Vermont.
Yep, and we had a tournament up in Lake Placid one time, and her mom, Kristen, we were out in the oval, the outdoor skating oval there, and Kristen's just doing laps, she's not even a skater, but she was just competitive, trying to beat everybody. It was great.
Very naturally talented family, super athletic family in the house.
Yeah, well, Gator's, he's very talented in his cheering. That's what I'll give him credit for. Gator is, he's here. He is a fantastic. He's great. As Muzz said, the atmosphere shifts when they come into Columbus.
He balances the family out, AJ.
That's right. He sure does.
There's Amos short-handed off the stick that time of Jones, and this power play for Northeastern unsuccessful. Cimarroni steps out of the box. He'll go to the bench. Fresh legs on.
I did tell Muzz, by the way, I said, you're welcome. I disciplined Cass a lot. And by the way, I love her. I say this with a lot of affection, but I disciplined her a lot through youth hockey. And she looked at me, she said, not enough. She's got quite a temper in her, which is a good temper. We like that. We like the passion that players play with and trying to control that and use it for good. And I mean, look at her. She's bumped up as a freshman, a true freshman, playing on that top line with Olympic gold medalist Joy Dunn. It's impressive work for Cassidy Carmichael.
In her first ever Frozen Four game, put in a big spot on a big stage, and boy, that top line looks good right away. And as we talked about earlier, would have to imagine perhaps they stay together on Sunday, but we will find out. McDermott here with it for Northeastern. In a Northeastern season where you look at their record 28-8-1. Dave Flint's a phenomenal coach, finalist for National Coach of the Year in his 17th season with the Huskies. He's led them to all 8 of their NCAA tournament appearances. winningest coach in program history with 397 wins. So while this final game perhaps going to be forgettable for Northeastern, a fantastic season for them. And they got healthy at the right time. Big win over Minnesota last week to get back to the Frozen Four, and only more good things to come for them.
Yeah, they hit quite a program there. We talked a little bit about how they don't have a home arena until 2028, but didn't seem to bother them at all. I mean, Matthews was an iconic building. It certainly was ready. It's ready for a new one there at Northeastern, but here's another penalty coming against Northeastern. You know, I think you look at what Northeastern's and what these athletes have done, what Dave Flint has done for this program. It's really impressive. They have played in the national championship game. They lost in overtime a couple years ago. So
for Northeastern, 2 minutes hooking.
Here's a look at Christina Allard too, and smiles for her, just knowing that she's there a little high. She missed the stick, tries to lift the stick instead, goes up, but there's a senior looking at her last. She just had her last shift of college hockey, since she will, I guess, unless Ohio State scores and she gets released.
Shout out to Paige Capstrand in our studio, a part of building up that Northeastern program over the years. She played for Coach Flint. Our studio crew doing a phenomenal job. Angela and Natalie as well.
You know, it's interesting, though, if you really are a women's hockey historian, you go back to the 80s and 90s, Northeastern was part of the trifecta. It was Providence College, University of New Hampshire, and Northeastern. Nobody could touch those three schools. And even when I started in school, and then it started to shift, and obviously those three schools are all still fantastic, but now there's more depth, there's more parity, and Northeastern, you know, they're getting back on the national scene. So Dave Flint has built it in the new world of women's hockey.
Oh, somehow the Buckeyes did make it 6-0 there. Had a clear look at a pretty wide open net. Side of the net that time. It was Sloan Matthews. She 9 times out of 10 puts those away.
I think she was surprised at how gaping a net she had staring at her. Saving it for Sunday, maybe.
There you go. Matthews, a player who is in her 4th straight Frozen Four. Emma Peschel doing the same thing today. 4th straight Frozen Four. She scored today.
You just think about Northeastern right now, too, and they do have seniors on this team. They have players that have given everything, their whole lives, to play this sport, and whether they go on, and now, of course, some of them have the opportunity to play it professionally, to extend their careers in the amazing PWHL. So excited that they're, the last decade or so, we've had or more have had a professional league for athletes to continue, but certainly hard to say goodbye to this great game.
Absolutely. We saw Jules Constantinople in our meeting yesterday. She's one of their seniors who's had a fantastic career on defense. Connecticut native who has really built up her stamp in the midst of the history of Northeastern hockey. 13 seconds left until the Buckeyes can punch their ticket officially to Sunday. And Ohio State is going to close this one out. They were heartbroken a year ago, motivated today, and the ticket is officially punched to Sunday. The run continues each of the last 5 seasons. See where they won it here in 2022, then in 2024. Lost last year in Minneapolis. And what a performance today. Haley McLeod, who gets the shutout, her 6th of the season. Joy Dunn leading the charge all season. Scored her 27th goal of the year today to kick off the scoring. And she is ultra motivated, and she knows the job isn't done yet.
There's a lot of pride at Ohio State, and you know what, for Northeastern, it's not the way they wanted this game to go. Certainly wasn't the score outcome, but even just the way some of the game went. Disappointing for them after such a huge quarterfinal win over Minnesota. So now, greatest tradition in hockey, the handshake after the game, a ton of respect. Joy Dunn leading the charge for the Buckeyes.
Coach Muzzerall told her team, we need to be one-shift warriors today and just take it shift by shift They did that, putting up 5 goals on the board, and there is the updated Women's Frozen Four bracket. Ohio State punches a ticket to Sunday. Penn State and Wisconsin still to follow, 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN+. We will see you for that one very soon.